One of the things that I aim to do with the Black Vault is to create a roadmap, a chronology, a timeline of everything that has happened when it comes to their investigation of UFOs. Whether or not that started with OSAP or ATIP, who knows where it really began, but I do know that at least part of it dealt with the UAP task force. That's verifiable. That is something that they will admit to. But getting access to the documents, the photos, the videos, the information, the case files has been incredibly problematic. There's no transparency that some people are claiming is there. There's no path to disclosure, as I said in a past video here on this channel. That's just not where we are at. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's what we are met with. So one of the things that I try and do is figure out through FOIA, how can I put pieces of the puzzle together, plots on the timeline, and officially confirm that certain things happened? Well, one of those ways is to follow the money. And that's what I tried to do when it comes to specifically the UAP task force. What will that tell us? Well, it'll tell us about the money. It'll tell us who got paid. Hopefully, anyway. There's a lot of privacy things there that could exempt names. But possibly we could get, let's say, job titles. We could get their specialties. What areas of specialty were they at? Who were they talking to? Who were they paying? Were there contracts? Again, there's a lot of variables there that we don't entirely know, but that's why you go for this type of information. Well, I filed a request for all budgetary information for the UAP task force and was fully denied. Now, the question mark is why? Why is it that they don't want to tell us anything about the money? Well, I can tell you that their argument is essentially national security information, which includes the finances. They don't want you to specifically know where they are putting X amount of dollars into this part, Y amount of dollars into that part, simply because of national security reasons. But when it comes to the UAP task force, is there anything that we can get them to budge on? And I'm not sure. I can start with this. They denied everything yet again in that lack of transparency that they have right now. They do not want to tell us a thing. As I mentioned, they cited Exemption B1, which protects classified national defense and foreign relations information, and Exemption B5, which essentially covers interagency, what they call deliberative process. So maybe talking about what they may or may not do. That deliberation is exempt through FOIA. B5 is a very difficult FOIA exemption to fight. There's really no legal definition. There's some jargon here and there, but essentially we call it the exempted if you want to exemption. So if they want to exempt something, they can probably find or use Exemption B5 as an excuse. It's really, really in need of reformation, and it has to go away because there's a lot that goes into exemptions that are cited to B5 that I feel should be released. Now, I've appealed this, and I'll get to that in a second. But essentially what they're saying is that the UAP task force budget is 100% exempt from disclosure. They will not tell us anything. One other interesting thing that I wanted to point out, and it's a little confusing to me because, as we know, UAP task force at this point has essentially been disbanded. It's not going anymore simply because of this memorandum here. I won't read it to you, but this was the July 15th, 2022 memo where they established the All-Domain Anomaly Research, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO. We hear that referred to as AARO a lot. That was essentially going to, you can see down here, to support the orderly transition of the UAPTF, including the transfer of any data, analysis, or other relevant material to AARO. Essentially, they were phasing UAP Task Force out, phasing AARO in. Yet in this, and that was 2022, this particular letter was from March 28th, 2023. In the course of processing your FOIA request, this office contacted the UAP Task Force office to conduct a search for their applicable records. Where it is a little bit confusing, although maybe not surprising, who knows, there's still a UAP Task Force to talk to. AARO, we know, is not the task force. So is this just a form letter that they're using? Is there something still in operation? I'm not sure, but I'm still digging into that part. But I do find the verbiage and the word usage very interesting when it comes to that they talked to the UAP task force. They found the information I was looking for. What I had requested specifically was all budgetary material, budget breakdowns, financial records, financial reports, payroll costs, records outlining breakdowns of personnel, numbers, and paychecks. Essentially anything when it came to do with money. When you do requests like this, you'll know that not everything is likely going to be released, but that's okay, because there are still nuggets of information in redacted documents that in some cases you can use. Not all, but in some cases you can use, especially some of these things like personnel numbers and stuff like that. How many people were on the payroll? Maybe they can't tell me the names. That's fine. But you know that there's a list there of personnel that they were either paying or using within their investigations, maybe paying consulting fees. Again, there's a lot of options here. That's what I was going for, yet they exempted all of it. So I did file the appeal. I fought it on multiple grounds that exemption B5 shouldn't be cited at all when it comes to this, because obviously there's some point in financial situations where not everything is deliberative. So I went ahead and fought it on those grounds, and then also put up an argument fighting the whole national security blanket exemption, which exempted it all. Will I get anything as a result of that appeal? As always, it's a crapshoot. But hopefully this gives you guys insights on not letting this type of an answer stand on its own and then you just give up. Always appeal. Figure out ways to argue what they said and just go for it. The worst they can say is, sorry, your appeal is denied, and that's it. But as I've proven myself, but also have seen quite a few other people have proven as well, that inspired me to start doing appeals quite a few years ago now. I didn't in the very beginning. It was a huge mistake. But that inspiration has led to many victories for the Black Vault, trying to get this information where their original response is, sorry, national security deliberative process, whatever the excuse is, file the appeal, and voila, all of a sudden, after further consideration, they release some, or in some cases, even all of the material. So always appeal, always give it a shot. If you ever need advice, have questions, whatever you need, I always love answering and helping where I can. I don't have all the answers, obviously. I'm the first to admit that, but I always like helping where I can, and maybe my mistakes in the past can be passed on if it applies to your case. So feel free to post those comments here on YouTube below, or you can contact me at the blackvault.com. That contact form comes directly to me. I'm the entire staff of that website. It's only me. So I'll get that directly, and again, happy to help. How you can help me if you can, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and most of all, the biggest help, pass the word. If you feel these videos are helpful, it gives some insights, some helps when it comes to FOIA, UAP, military issues, or you name it. I'll be expanding a little bit on topics here in the future for this channel. If you find that worthwhile, sharing the channel is the biggest help that you can give me. So thank you in advance for that. That said, thank you for listening and watching. This is John Greenwald Jr. signing off, and we'll see you next time.